Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of The Top Shelf with me, Shantanu D. No surprises for guessing what today's video is about. This is a sailor box, and this box has a sailor pen. Surprise, surprise. This box came with a sleeve. I have done away with the sleeve in the interests of time. So this is it, a sailor box, sharp on the edges, faux sort of leather, and of course this has the new sailor logo. Now what comes inside this? Inside this is the usual sailor accoutrement. You have this nice sailor logo underneath the hood, as well as this plastic and a case underneath, which has the two cartridges and the converter and the other warranty information. Now I'm going to put that back if I can manage and do away with this box and show you the pen in question. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Sailor Professional Gear Slim Winter Sky Edition. And I don't know if the camera is really capturing it, but it's this really pale lilac, I think. A very simple, a very clean sort of a look. And there are a few things that have changed with the Pro Gear, pardon me, the Pro Gear Slims. In fact, I think it's overall change, but I could be wrong. Maybe this is a special edition, which is why things look a little different. And what I mean by that is I've got a sailor over here. Now this is the Pro Gear Slim Purple Cosmos. Now if you look at the two pens side by side, you will see that the center band is slightly different. This one, the Winter Sky, is more sort of a complete continuous center band, whereas the regular or older Pro Gear that I have, the Purple Cosmos, this one is got this thin band on top over here and then the center band. So that's a little bit about these two pens, at least on the exterior. Everything else remains the same. The finial at the top has got the unmistakable sailor logo, flat over the tops, and the bottom as well. Now let's take a look at the nib. This is a 14 karat medium nib. As you can see, it's inscribed on the side over there, M for medium. I don't know if you can see it. And I think this also has a slight difference in design. Let's take a look at the Purple Cosmos. This is the Purple Cosmos, and no, pretty much looks the same. Let's bring it together. No, there's a slight difference in the logo, ladies and gentlemen. The logo and the scroll work is different on the Winter Sky as opposed to the Pro Gear Slim. That kind of makes me happy. I have a few Pro Gear Slims and they all look the same. This one is a new edition, so that's nice. I also forgot to mention that, I don't know if the camera is capturing it, but this material has a very slight shimmer. Maybe you can make out, maybe you can't. But certainly under this light that I'm shooting on, it's got some hint of glitter in the customary sailor way of doing things these days. So what does this pen have? Yeah, it's a small size pen. It's got 14 karat nib, as I mentioned, as well as I've installed a cartridge in this. Let me tell you a little bit about the cartridges that I have. Now, I've acquired these in the past year. It's the Shikiori line, and it's really cool. It's arranged like a book, and I don't know if you can make out, but yeah. So 3 cartridges each per color, and you will soon see the color that I'm using. Now let's take a look at a size comparison with other pens. I know a lot of you have seen it and might know of it, but here's a size comparison between these 4 pens. So you have the Lamy Safari on the left, you have the Lamy 2000, you have a Pelican M200 or 205, and then you have the Pro Gear Slim. So as you can see, The Pro Gear Slim is quite small and really quite light as well. I mean, not as light as the Pelican, but a good heft, just right. And in fact, if you put the converter inside this, I suppose it will bring the grammage a notch up. Let me now put that away. All right, and now let's take a look at a writing sample that I've done before. And here I have the Sailor Professional Gear Winter Sky Edition. Now, this paper is really, really nice, and it's the Maruman Nemo sign, and the nib, of course, 14 karat gold in a medium point. The ink, as I showed you a second ago, was the Sailor Shikiori Yukiakari. I might have butchered that, but pardon me if you're Japanese. And here's a look at the shading properties of this ink. Pretty good, I'd say. Of course, this paper is wonderful, and the weight, as I mentioned, of this pen is not much. It's very convenient at 18.7. Take it up a notch above if there is a converter attached to it, fully filled, that is. And the price varies from 21,000 to 17,000 in India, rupees, that is, and US, it's about 260. Um, Now, let's take a look at this pen in a little bit more detail. It's a very, very understated color, as I said, which isn't really what you see with Sailor pens. I could be wrong, of course. Many of you would know more about that. And one thing of note is that this pen has a much smoother nib than the rest of my Sailors. Now, when I say smoother nib, I haven't so far detected the classic Sailor feedback. It's fairly smooth and it's a fairly thick medium. My Purple Cosmos is also medium and it's not this thick. It could be, of course, the ink and the paper and so on and so forth, but the feedback is definitely less noticeable. But when I do a writing sample, you will probably hear the minutest of sounds coming out of this nib. Trust me, that's not the case. And honestly, this is more suited to people like me who have a small handwriting, who like to have their pens in their pockets, especially, preferably the shirt pocket. I'm slightly old school like that, and a smaller handwriting, as I had mentioned. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the professional gear is the smaller of the Sailor Pro gears. There is a larger one which is a little longer and a little bit more bulbous. I don't own any of those, but if I get a hold of one, I'll definitely do a review. Now, enough said. Time for a writing sample. Let's get to it. I'm not going to talk too much because I can't do two things at the same time. And this is, let's do the quick fox, right? Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Well, certainly the weather over here in India is really, really warm, and a lot of lazy dogs lying around the house as well as on the streets. This doesn't really have any line variation, honestly. It looks thicker on the downstroke, but honestly, it's a very, very consistent line over here. Again, I don't know if you can make out, but it's not very feedbacky. See that? It's very smooth. I don't know if I like that. I mean, personally, I love Sailor pens. I think my handwriting is much better with them. Maybe you prefer this iteration of this nib, but honestly, I prefer the customary Sailor feedback. And that's pretty much it. Look it up. I think it is last year's edition, and it should be still available. But before we go, we're going to do a writing test on some not so good fountain pen friendly paper. This paper is, I think this is a Muji paper. Muji paper. Pretty good, I'd say. The line has become thinner on this paper, and well, I thought I'd use some bad paper, but the Muji paper is pretty decent, I have to admit. It doesn't show any shading property, just mild shading properties. So yeah, that's about it. I think the Japanese nibs are definitely thinner than the others, and which I think allows for greater versatility to write in different pieces of paper and notepads, etc., etc. Well, that's about it from my side. If you have a question, a comment, or anything like that, do drop a message down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.